It's our distinct pleasure here today at EnerCom to be speaking with founder and chairman of Eckard Enterprises, Troy Eckard, who has been in business here of what he calls providing tangible assets for tangible wealth. And that is a great tagline given the condition of some of the financial instruments and environment we face today. Troy, thanks for joining us. How are you?
I'm doing good. I appreciate you having me on, Jim. It's always a pleasure to talk to other industry experts and professionals. It's quite a great industry that we have. I love sharing and talking about it. So, the AML strategy continues to be something that I live and die by. I put that in process about 8 or 9 years ago, and it is to aggregate those fractional opportunities. Make your money on the buy side. Be patient, let it mature, and then be willing. You don't have to pursue it, but be willing to look at either a liquidity event or a liquidation event. We don't want to have any debt, zero debt. And we have a little bit of debt. It's specific debt tied to specific assets, but for the most part, we're a debt-free company, and our partners and the investments and assets we own are debt-free. It's all cash. And the trade-off is you burn up a lot more equity and capital. You limit your buying capacity, but you sure don't have to worry about anxiety on Fridays and Mondays, right? I always said bad news in the oil patch always happens on Sunday afternoons. You leave with 50 wells producing on Friday, you come in Monday and 4 went dry and 2 were kidnapped by aliens and taken away. And so you end up trying to figure out what the hell happened. So having an all cash position, what it really means is you now can focus your attention on the typical cycles and cyclical patterns, which is month to month revenue, commodity price interaction, ups and downs, gas, seasonal. So you take away the stress of the big chop at the knees. Now it's just more riding out the curves, which is a natural pattern throughout our industry. It has made it really, really a comfortable position for us as a company, and with our investing partners, it's made them really comfortable knowing we don't care what happens to interest rate. We don't care what happens to the election. We own what we own, and we're very happy with that position. And so when you look at the energy space, we're a direct correlative response to the rest of the market. We drive that market. President Trump likes cheap oil because cheap energy makes a strong economy. We don't like cheap oil because we're spending a whole lot of money burning up tier one assets, selling at sub $70 a barrel, which really is probably a low price in today's market. So, you've got to learn how that seesaw works. And for me, with investors, it makes it easy because oil and gas investment, I think this is where the oil and gas industry makes a big mistake. There is trillions of dollars to be invested in oil and gas from private investors, but the oil and gas companies treat them like they're stupid, like they don't understand. They don't have time to waste on individual investors. And as a result, they turn a blind eye to all that capital. And really the capital saying it's not that we don't want to invest. We don't know how it works. And I don't want to be a geologist or an engineer. I want to trust you and invest because I'm willing to be a long-term energy asset holder, but you got to at least give me enough information on what the roller coaster looks like.
So then how do you expand your universe of potential investors for those who've never really dipped their toe into the oil and gas universe?
Yeah, what's really interesting for me, and it's never happened in my career, I would say 95% of our current new partners, new clients or partners are all referrals. Never had that before. And what we started off with was the premise of if we were investing in energy and we had limited expertise or zero expertise in it, what do we want? Well, we want transparency. We want access to data. We want to know that the terms are fair, and we want to be able to validate the terms are fair. We want to have somebody that will give us more information than we want, but at least the information that's there if we decide we ever learn it. So we spend an enormous amount of time in education. We spend about $3 million building our own app. It basically allows any one of our partners to go online, see their deeds and titles and records and ownership, and every day we scrape the production, the tax information. So we took a really obscure asset class like energy and we brought it to mainstream.
What is some of your investment criteria? Are you guys basin agnostic?
No, I tell you what, I've been involved in probably, I want to say 6 or 7 of the basins so far. I started off buying in the Barnett Shale, working interest in that type of stuff in the late 1990s. I got in early. I actually was involved in participating in drilling and funding horizontal wells in the Austin Chalk, both in the Giddings field and the Pearsall field back in late 1980s. So horizontal drilling, something I did early in my career. And what I've been able to do is I kind of looked at everything from the simplicity. As we get older, we get a little bit smarter, right? And the smartness goes, why would I go to a state that has a regulatory environment that's anti-fossil fuel, which starts at the ground floor of permitting and right-of-ways and everything else that's necessary to develop your assets? So I kind of avoided states that had anti-fossil fuel mentality and regulations and political environment. Then I decided, where can I, a small company, just under $1 billion in assets, where can I go play without having Exxon step on me or Chevron or somebody else step on me? So how do I get in the game? Well, what it boiled down to is it boils down to having forced pooling. So I like to be in Oklahoma, North Dakota because of forced pooling. Texas, you have to be in just because if you can find the right deal, it's enormous, enormous long-term potential, even though it's expensive. And so I kind of just said, geologically, regulatory, the ability, the bandwidth, the size of the basin, the fact it's got liquids that are heavy. I like heavy liquids basins. I pretty much made my choice. It's either going to be the Williston Basin, Anadarko Basin, or Permian Basin. Those are my three. Yeah, I can tell you, Jim, money is incredibly easy to find. Finding a good asset is incredibly difficult, if not impossible. And so if you take the premise that I can find all the money I want, if I know how and I have the skills to find a great asset, you'll fund anything you want. What I find in most companies, whether it's private equity, small capital raisers, large capital raisers, is that they work really hard on funding a deal, but then what they do is they let their guard down when it comes to servicing the expectations of the capital provider. And I believe for every one step of effort in raising the money, you got to have 4 steps in supporting that with post-closing expectations, reporting, transparency, and setting those and managing those expectations along the path. That's something that we do incredibly well. We spend a lot of time and a lot of money making sure that after the partners invest, it's about a 4 times or 400% multiple of education. I see so many partners that have made a decision to invest with us for the next 5 or 10 years because of that one factor alone. What they get from these conferences is I get to talk to 500 other millionaires of all sizes and shapes, find out what they're investing in and how much other things we're involved in. And I get to talk about Troy stuff, and they walk away going, why doesn't everybody else do this? And I can tell you that has made the most massive difference in my business is the openness and the willingness to let partners meet and greet each other and have access to my team. It's been the game changer for me for 40 years. EckardEnterprises.com. And then when you get inside that website, it'll have Eckard Insights. Just go to that, click it, sign up, you'll get approved, and you're in. We want you to be smart. We want you to learn what's going on in the market. We want you to learn how oil and gas affects every other asset class and how you might position yourself. Whether you do direct investing or you buy stock in Exxon, you better learn how energy is going to be around a long, long time, and it's going to affect every other asset class in one way or another. If you're looking for a job, contact us on Eckard Enterprises. We are looking for people to work for us.
That's a strong send-off, Troy. I appreciate it. I wish you guys all the continued success. I think you're well poised for the future. As you know, fossil fuels are expected to be at the forefront of energy for at least the next 50 years, for the foreseeable future. And you're in the position to create wealth for people who have that sort of mindset and that sort of time horizon.
Yeah, I'm enjoying life and I'm enjoying making my clients money. I just wish I were 40, not 60, because I'd love to see where we're at in the next 10 or 20 years. It's going to be unbelievable what this country does with energy independence. It's going to be pretty phenomenal. It's going to reset the financial deck across the globe. And I think it's all because we have brilliant people in this business. So thank you, Jim, for having me on. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. I look forward to keeping in touch. Troy Eckard. Troy's the founder and chairman of Eckard Enterprises in Texas. Tangible assets for tangible wealth. These guys have been doing it for a while. They've been doing it successfully. It is a long-term partnership more than an investment thesis. But both of those will get you a long ways down the road. And at the end of it, things will be looking pretty good.
Yes,
Troy,
sir.
thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care.
Yep, best to you. Thanks for your time.